Today we continue with our class Shabbos Kitchen. Today's class number 9. We start with Sefer Shmiras Haloshon, and today's topic is the view from above. And it says, thus far our parable was shown how Reuben has ceased to speak despairingly of Shimon. After hearing that Shimon is held in high esteem by the leading Torah sage. Okay, the parable continues. Sometime later, Yehuda tells Reuben, I was privileged to be present when Shimon met with the sages of the Mishnah. Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi, Rabbi Meir, and others, men endowed with the divine inspiration, who are akin to the angels and cannot possibly be deceived. I saw how they accorded Shimon great honor and showed him deep love and admiration. So in previous episode, we said that this guy say, maybe he fooled this great rabbi, right? So now a different scenario. The rabbis from the Mishnah, Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi, Rabbi Meir came and they still, for sure, if they honor this person, the Shimon person, so I mean, he's genuine. Okay. A shaken Reuben responded, I have erred. Obviously, it was my evil inclination which caused me to bear ill towards Shimon. Yehuda then adds, one last point. The sages of the Mishnah are often visited by the prophet Eliyahu. They mentioned that Eliyahu had related how he had heard the Holy One, blessed be He, expressed deep love for Shimon. That's okay. Now they're pushing it already, right? Okay. Woe to me, exclaimed Reuben. I have harbored ill will and spoken against someone who is loved by HaShem. I now see things in a different light. Either I was mistaken in thinking that Shimon had wronged me, or I was correct, but had fallen to fail to attribute his actions to the inadvertent error on his part. For surely he would not have wronged me intentionally. I have sinned grievously in speaking despairingly of this man. So he now says it could be two issues. I was wrong, or maybe he did wrong me, but it was unintentional. He did not know. So, I mean, okay. Person did not know. I deeply regret my feelings and actions and will strive to develop true love for Shimon. Scripture states, I love you, said HaShem, Malachi 1:2, and you are children of HaShem, your God. Dvarim 14:1. This is the inherent intent of the phrase I'm HaShem at the conclusion of the verse, which prohibits harboring ill will and command us to love our fellow Jews. Just as HaShem has deep unwavering love for every Jew, so too must we develop within ourselves deep unwavering love for each other. Okay. Okay, second, let me see the next. See page 411. So here's the 411, continue to 63. So continuation. On this earth, a person sees other clothes in a physical garb, and thus tends to look down upon them and focus on what he perceives as their faults. HaShem, however, sees the essential holiness of every Jewish soul, which is often stated in a holy Zohar, is also, meaning the Jewish soul is also. Hashem's love and regard for each soul is predicated on this knowledge, and thus is exceedingly great. Okay. Baruch Hashem. So possess a good soul. So it's all it depends how you use the soul. If you use it in the right way, it's going to shine and be exalted. If some people do whatever they do, so it's going to be opposite, it's going to be true. So we're working now on subtitles for the movie The World of Lies. So if you, of course, it's available in English, but in other languages we're still working on subtitles. Very interesting. Rabbi Reuven Shlita tells us what is happening to people who do not use their soul properly, Jews and non-Jews. Okay, so number 6, returning to the. So we continue Shabbos kitchen, and we're not up to chapter number 6, and the topic of this chapter is Hazara, right? To return path to the Blech. So the key word, as we said many times before, is returning, meaning that it was there before, and you want to return. Okay, introduction. Often a need arises on Shabbos to remove a pot from the stove and take out food and replace it on a blech afterwards. It is also necessary on occasion to transfer the food from one blech to another. For example, to take food in a different house within the Eruv. So you go into somewhere for Shabbos meal, right? And we saw it very, very interesting. That's in US, maybe it's not as popular, but I saw it in Yerushalayim. It was very, very interesting. People on Friday night, they would walk with their own containers to visit their friends. So basically, everybody would do, say, a dish or 2 or 3, right? And then they combine together. So most of these are not very rich people. And okay, so they can have a dinner together, which is kiddush together, which is very, I think it's amazing. Right, so what I'm trying to say that since there is an Eruv, so they can even take a hot pot, right? I mean, pot from one blech and put it on another blech. There is no problem whatsoever. I mean, if it's warm and all these other conditions that we're going to learn, right? Or another scenario when you want to take food. For example, you have soup on a blech, and you want to serve your family. And you put it back on the blech, maybe your friends are going to stop by. Okay, so it's so they would have a hot soup, right? So you're allowed to serve. Of course, there are conditions which must be met, and then you can put back. Okay, continue. This action known as Hazara, returning food to the blech. Resemble cooking, and therefore permitted only under the strict conditions. So that's the last sentence says that when you put something on the stove, let's say you are served our example, right? So we took the pot of the blech, and we are serving this soup, and then you bring back this pot to the blech. So if person just came from outside, he or she did not see that the pot was initially in blech, right? So what they see is only when you put the pot there for the first time. That's what they see. Okay, that's why they say it's resemble cooking. Part number 2. The 5 conditions for returning. We learn in chapter 4 the prohibition of initially placing on direct source of heat. Right? That's what we said. This prohibition applies only to placing new food on a flame or a blech. New food. There is a food that were not there in the beginning of Shabbos. However, Hazara, returning, there is replacement on the blech. Food that was taken off during Shabbos is permitted. Okay, so initial placing on a fire or on a blech is not allowed, right? But or returning to the open fire is never allowed, right? But returning on the blech or covered fire, so that's a different story. So let's see. Returning blech, food that was taken off during Shabbos is permitted. So it was on the blech, the beginning of Shabbos, you took it off, whenever you took it off, and some things were allowed to replace with blech. Let's see. Transferring food from one blech to another, or from flame to a blech, is considered a form of returning and also permitted. So it was on an open flame, and now you want to put it on a blech. there is no problem. Or from one blech to another, as we said, it's still returning. Okay. Return meaning in halachic sense. Even, I mean, you cannot say that you return this part into your friend's blech because it was not there in the beginning. So, but halachically, it's called return. Nevertheless, for the act of the for an act to be exempt from the prohibition of placing initial placing, and to qualify as Hazara, returning, 5 conditions must be met. So initial placing is not allowed, returning is allowed, and here are 5 conditions. A, the flame to which the food is being returned must be covered. There is with a blech, heavy-duty aluminum foil, or several layers of regular aluminum foil. Basically, as we said in the previous class, that it must be covered. Blech is the best, then the aluminum foil, whatever you can cover with. Right? Okay. But you have to cover something that is can actually withstand the heat, right, for such a long time. That's also have to be taken in consideration. So I would say, if you're not sure if it's not regular blech, if just piece of metal that you found somewhere, just test it during the week. I mean, do it on Sunday, do it on Monday, right, and see how it performs, so you can supervise, and then you decide whether you or not you can use it on Shabbos. B, food must be covered and cooked completely. Food must be completely cooked. Okay. So first, covered flame. Second, completely cooked food. Okay. C, the food must be still warm when returned to the blech. Okay. So if we took off the blech, and it must be still warm. Return to the blech. D, literally still in his hand. Right. The pot should not have been set down during the entire time. It was off the blech of the fire. So basically, you have to hold one handle all the time. Okay, so we're going to learn about it. Okay, and E, the 5th condition, one's original intention when removing the pot must be to return it to the blech. So as okay, so you have to keep in mind that's what I want to do. So if, for example, if you take our example of the soup, and let's say you're not expecting any guest, and usually people don't eat extra, so whatever they've been served, they eat, and that's it, right? So then I don't need to return. Why should I return, right? So if that's the story, and one did not have attention to return, so now he cannot return, right? Unless there are exceptions, but for now this is the rule. This condition now will be explained in details. Okay. So in many cases, as we're going to see, there are exceptions. In case of the need, stuff like that. Okay. A, the flame must be covered. A pot may only be returned to a flame that is covered by blech. See chapter 5. Okay, previous chapter. It is preferable that the knobs also be covered. As we said, if you can cover, no good, cannot cover, no problems. Okay. Returning a pot to an open flame is not permitted. So only you have to be covered. So only you can only if you cover the flame. The fire, if the fire is not covered by a blech, heavy-duty aluminum foil, or several layers of regular aluminum foil, then the fully cooked food, which may be maintained on open flame, as detailed in chapter 4, may not be returned to the fire once taken off. That's what we said before. So you took off, and that's it. You cannot put it back. All right. Okay, so one more time. May not be returned to the fire once taken off. Okay, we said that. Accordingly, it is advisable to always use blech, even when not obligated to do so under the rules of Shiur, maintaining. in order to permit lifting and return the food. So basically, when if you don't plan to return the food to the flame, I would say in a situation of Friday night, let's say during the Friday night. So if you cannot do it on Friday night, I mean, if you want to eat this for Friday night, so I mean, what is the point of returning? So in this case, you're not obligated to have Blech because you left it before Shabbos, and that's it. Okay, but it's always advisable to have Blech in case you would want to return for whatever reason. Okay. However, it is permissible to transfer a pot from open fire to one that is covered by Blech, provided that each 4 conditions are met. Okay. All right. So continue. In addition, it is permissible to lift a pot from a flame and place Blech over fire on Shabbos. In this case, the Blech must be sufficiently thick that it will not become red hot. Then, provided the other 4 conditions are met, a pot may be put back on a flame that is now covered by Blech. So let's try to read this again, because we had this question in the past. It's a very interesting question. So one more time, and we're going to explain. In addition, it is permissible to lift the pot from the flame and place the Blech over the fire on Shabbos. In this case, Blech. Just 1 second. In addition, permissible to lift the pot from the flame. So, so the pot was on a stove, right? On a fire, on a flame without the Blech. So now they remember about the Blech step. So they want to leave the pot, put the Blech, and then place the Blech over the fire on Shabbos. Okay. In this case, the Blech must be sufficiently thick that it will not become red hot. Then provided that other 4 conditions are met, the pot may be put back on a flame that is now covered by Blech. So 4 conditions are met, meaning one of the conditions that must be hot, right? Or warm, still warm. So what is it saying? So the question was asked in the past, if you're allowed, for example, on Friday, let's say you finished eating, so you don't need the Blech until tomorrow morning, right? But if you live there, it's going to be very hot in the kitchen, right? So the question was asked whether you can remove this Blech, right, and put it Blech on Shabbos day, when you needed to warm up the food, right? So one of the answer was that you cannot, because the Blech was used for only this, and here only for warming up the food. That's the only usage that you're allowed to use, right? You're able to use. So we asked for a second. He said, if you will be able to use the Blech for something else. I said, what is something else? So he told me, very interesting, if you need to keep it to keep your window open, right, or door open with the Blech. So in this case, it would be it's not going to be like I don't know. So in this case, you would be allowed to put it back on the stove. So basically, it's not visible how to do that. And the second condition why you cannot do this is that food must be hot or warm. So basically, it's not going to work if your food is refrigerated. But if it's covered with a Blech, right, then it will cover it with a Blech. So in some cases, you're allowed to put it you're allowed to take from refrigerator and put it on a Blech, as we're going to learn. but if it's covered with a blech. In addition, as will be detailed in the page 98, one may take hot water from the urn or a kettle and pour it onto the pot that is on the blech, if the other four conditions also being met. Okay. Meaning that you have a cholent there, and it's start burning. So you can take hot water, very hot water, and put it there. So no problem, because if this is hot and there is hot, no problem. Continue. Ovens, crack pots, hot plates. Any appliance normally used for cooking require blech to permit return. Ovens, crack pot, and adjustable hot plates require thick aluminum foil. Ovens, crack pots, and adjustable hot plates, right? Thick foil. Which serves as a blech. So meaning if it's capable of cooking, must be covered. It is preferable that not also be covered. Okay, as we said in chapter 5. But if it's not capable of cooking, so in this case, you're not allowed to cover, as we said before. But if it has knobs, most likely it's capable of cooking. Continue. Non-adjustable hot plates, which cannot be used for cooking. Okay, here we go. But only for keeping food warm, do not require blech. However, non-adjustable crack pots require blech. So, I mean, yeah, on a non-adjustable hot plate, I mean, it's not very hot. Actually, just to keep the food warm. But non-adjustable crack pots, of course, I mean, it's the only different. I mean, it's very hot. It just works with a timer. That's it. That's the only thing. Okay, we go to B. The food must be completely cooked. Okay, so the second condition. Returning a pot to a blech is permitted only if the food has been completely cooked. Completely cooked means that the food has been cooked to the point where it would be eaten by the most of the people without further cooking. Partially cooked food, even if it is reached the edible states, like the food at Ben Rusai, may not be returned to blech once it has been removed. Doing so violates the prohibition, the Torah prohibition of cooking. So, as we said, you're allowed to leave it on a blech or on an open flame on the beginning of Shabbos. Let's say if it's half cooked, there is no problem, as we said. Right? But you're not allowed to return. Once it was taken off, so you're not allowed to return. That's the thing. Okay. So completely cooked. So the third condition, C. The food must be warm. A fully cooked food that is removed from blech on Shabbos may only be returned while it is warm. That is, it could be enjoyed as a warm food or drink. Okay, so it's warm, but I would like it hotter, right? Once cooled, it may not be returned to the blech, as this is considered a new warming procedure. However, in the case of need, one may return completely cooked dry food that is cold. Right? In regard to the liquids, once cooled, the prohibition of cooking also applies and would therefore not be allowed. Okay, so here we go. So this is very, very practical. So on one hand, the halacha, that's what I said, we have to go into details. Of course, there is exception. The halacha states that the food must be warm. On one hand, right? On another hand, we know that you're allowed to take from refrigerator. So you have rice, let's say, in the refrigerator, and you're allowed to put on a blech to warm it up, right? So what is what's going on here, right? So they say it's in case of the need. So you're allowed to return completely cooked dry food. So Sephardim actually allowed to put even cold food, liquid food, right? So there is no problem for them. And Ashkenazi tradition, so we actually don't put, as it says here, any liquid, and even before putting out something on a blech, we try to wipe out all of the condensation. Right, and when we take off the lid, you always have all this condensation. Right, we try to wipe it as much as possible, but if a few drops left, of course, there is no problem. It's not our intention to cook it, but most of it you can wipe out. Continue. D. The pot must be still in one's hand. Another condition necessary to make a return permitted is that the pot must be in one's hand the entire time it is off the blech. It is not necessary to keep the pot suspended in the midair. It can be set down on a counter or a tabletop, as long as one does not release the grip, his grip. Only if one sets down the pot and releases the grip, he is forbidden to return it. Okay. So basically, if she wants to serve the food, this is our soup. 1 second, let me have meat. Okay, so if we want to, so what is it? So if we want to serve the food, the soup, right? If you want to serve the soup from the pot, so we have to keep holding the handle, right, of the pot, and then when we finish serving, you're allowed to return it back. Okay, so that was condition number 4. Condition number 5, E. One's original intention is to return the pot. The final condition requires to permit return the food to the blech is that one's original intent must be to do. Okay, we did not announce that it's 8:15. Let me wait 1 second. My fault. Sorry. All right, no problem. So continue. So one more time, the last condition. One's original intention is to return the pot. The final condition required to permit returning food to the blech is that one's original intent must be to do so. Okay. So basically, as we said, the person has to plan, okay, I want to serve some food right now, but I want to warm up and keep it warm until maybe I want to eat later some more. If when lifting the pot, one intend to remove it from the blech permanently, he may not return it. As we said, the practical example would be on Friday night, right? However, if one had no particular intention when lifting the pot, he is permitted to return it as long as he did not specifically intend to remove it permanently. So that's a beautiful leniency to us. So if you didn't have any specific intention not to return, so meaning that you would be allowed to return. So let's quickly. Actually, no, there is a summary. Okay. So now, just to remind us, so we learning the laws of allowing us to return to food to the blech. And we said there are 5 conditions, right? Food taken off the flame may be returned only, right? Of the flame to the blech. So from if it was on flame, you are allowed to return to the blech, right? Only if it's completely cooked. Only when it's still warm. If it was not put down and let go of. And last one, if one did not intend to remove it permanently. So one more time. So the flame must be covered with a blech in order for us to return. Be completely cooked, right? So and while still warm. So basically, as we said, if the fire was not covered, right, but you have a warm food, I know you brought it from your neighbor, or it was on an open flame. So as we said, you're allowed to cover it now with a blech, and you can put this warm food on top, right? You would not be allowed to put the cold food. Okay, that's one of the leniency that we can use. Okay. D, if it was not put down, and let it go off, right? So it's very important to keep holding the pot. And last one, E, if one did not have intention to remove it permanently, right? So I mean, it's proper to always have an explicit intention to return. Whether if you're going to change your mind, there is no problem. But it's proper to have always intention to return. And this condition, it is also permitted to transfer food from one blech to another. Okay, so you're going to your neighbor, so you can bring them your chicken. Okay. Continue. Part number 3. If not all of the 5 conditions are met. Okay, so now we're going to exceptions. So far we said must be all 5. Now we're going to exceptions. Okay. If not all of the 5 conditions are met. The first 3 conditions mentioned above, the heat source must be covered, the food must be completely cooked, and the food must still be warm, are always required. Nevertheless, food may be returned if all 3 of the conditions are not present. Never may food be returned if all 3 of the conditions are not present. Okay, so one more time, 3 conditions. What? Flame is covered, food is completely cooked, right? And food is still warm. However, the last 2 conditions, food must be still in one's hand, right? And one must have intention to return, must be adhered to lechatchila. Lechatchila, it means in the beginning, right? They translate in the first place. That's initially, that's what we have adhered to. However, b'diavad, so after the fact, post facto, some exceptions do apply, and if one is inadvertently neglected to abide by these 2 conditions, meaning have it in his hand and have intention to return it, there are cases in which returning is permitted. Okay, so now we're going to go in all of the details. So A, I mean, those are exceptions. Okay, exception. If pot was removed from Blech on Erev Shabbos, so that's a problem, right? We said returning, meaning that it was there. Okay, so here we go. It was there, or at least it was on a flame when Shabbos begins. So here's a very interesting scenario. If pot was removed from Blech on Erev Shabbos, so meaning before Shabbos time. If one removed the pot of warm, completely cooked food from the blech before Shabbos, with intention to return it, and then set it down and forgot to put it back before Shabbos, he is permitted in a case of necessity to return it to blech on Shabbos as long as still warm. Okay, so basically the Shabbos started and they lit the candles, and now they see that the pot is next to the blech, not on the blech. So, and the food is still warm. Of course, it's completely cooked, so we are allowed to return. The following example illustrates the rule. When organizing the blech in preparation for Shabbos, one removes a pot from the blech and forgot to return it. Okay, that's a good example. This pot may be returned to the blech on Shabbos as long as it is completely cooked, still warm, and his original intention was to return. So, as we said before, in order to return, all of this food must be on a blech before Shabbos, right? So here it was before Shabbos, but they took out, but it was necessary food, right? Took off the blech, rearrange it. So sometimes you have 5 or 6 parts of this blech. So I mean. Not pots, but let's say different containers. So it's very easy to overlook one of them, right? So I mean, I think it's very practical example. So, but if the condition is food is still warm, and they have intention to put it on a blech. Okay, so in this exceptional situation, we allow them to put it on a blech. However, if one's original intention was not to place the pot on the blech, He's forbidden to return it on Shabbos. That's it. So if it was not in the beginning of Shabbos, it was not his intention. So he's not allowed to put it on Shabbos or on Blech. Likewise, if one set of pots on the Blech before Shabbos, but forgot to ignite the fire beneath it, he may move the pots to another covered flame, provided the food is still warm. It's very interesting. I'm not sure where this person had another. Maybe, I guess, if you go to your neighbors, right, and they have a Blech with fire underneath, right? So you're allowed to take your food and put it on their Blech. Why? Because technically you already, all of your foods were on the Blech, all of the containers were on the Blech arranged, but the only problem, you forgot to turn on the flame. That's a problem. Okay, so there's another exception. Very interesting. Okay, next scenario B. If pot was removed from a Blech on Shabbos. Okay, so let's see. If one remove, actually, it's that's what our chapter is dealing with, right? If one remove the pot on Shabbos from Blech with intention to put it in back there, and inadvertently put it down on the counter, thereby not fulfilling the fourth condition, he is permitted to return to the Blech. Likewise, if one lifted the pot from the Blech, intending not to return it, thereby not fulfilling the fifth condition, but still has the pot in his hand, he is permitted to return it. Okay, so let's look at these two scenarios. It's very interesting. So let's read one more time, and we're going to explain. If one remove pot on Shabbos from the Blech with intention to put it back, and there he inadvertently to put it down on the counter, right? Thereby not fulfilling the fourth condition, he is permitted to return to the Blech. So I would say, I think it's very practical to do that. So you have this pot, and you want to serve soup, right? So you cannot serve soup with one hand, right? Okay, we have ladle, but you need to hold the bowl, right? The soup bowl with another hand. That's how it works. So it's very, very practical, I think, to put it down and let go of the handle, serve everybody with the soup, and then take it back. I think it's very practical. Okay, so in this case, so even if he or she put it on the counter top, no problem. Fourth condition is not met. As we said, they let go of the handle, but after the fact, no problem. He can still or she can still return. And second scenario. Likewise, if one lifted the pot from the Blech intended not to return it, right? Thereby not fulfilling the fifth condition, thereby not to return another fifth condition, but still has the pot in his hand, he is permitted to return. Okay, so person took off the pot, but it's still warm, still in his hand, and everything. The flame is covered, so he can return. Thus, even if one of the last two conditions exists, one is permitted to return the pot to the Blech. However, this leniency applies only in case of necessity. So it's proper, as we said, abide by all of the five conditions, but two last conditions, meaning to have the pot always in your hand and to have explicit intention to return it to the flame, or not to the flame, I apologize, you're never allowed to return to the flame, but to return to the Blech. As we said, it is allowed, right, to be lenient in some cases. As we said, if you need to serve, let's say your family, like how it's going to work? You hold it with one hand, the pot, and serve, like it's not going to work. Moreover, in a case of genuine need, okay, here we go. For example, a pot containing essential food, the return is permitted b'diavad even if neither of two conditions was adhered to. Thus, if part of the essential food, and keyword is essential. So if it's not essential, so you can survive without it not being hot and not be returned to the blech. So basically, don't do it, right? Thus, the part of essential food was taken off the blech on Shabbos with intention not to return it, and it was set down. One is nevertheless permitted to return this part to the blech. So here's a more lenient ruling that if they took over this part of the blech and did not have intention to put it back, so and let go of the handle, so still you're allowed to do it in case of necessity, as you said, essential food. As stated above, this leniency apply only if all of the first three conditions are met. What is three conditions? Remind us. Blech, meaning the source of heat is covered, completely cooked, still warm. Okay. C. Very interesting scenario. If fire went out, possible, right? If fully cooked food was left on a blech and the fire underneath was accidentally extinguished, it was draft and somebody opened the window, right? Or possible. The food may be transferred to another blech as long as it is still warm. Right? So it was on this blech, so you can transfer to another blech. Even if the flame went out before Shabbos, and one did not notice until Shabbos, the fully cooked food may be transferred while still warm to, as we said, to another blech, to your neighbor. There is no problem. It's nice to have nice neighbors. That's always a good thing to have. Okay. D. If a pot was mistakenly removed from blech, very interesting. Pot was mistakenly removed from blech. Okay. If one mistakenly removed the wrong pot from blech, he is permitted to return it there, even if set it down and intended not to return. So he thought that it's this dish, but it actually was a different dish. Okay, so he did not intend to return it, even though it was not essential food. And I think that's what they imply, but he's still allowed to return because it was an error. To illustrate, on Friday night, one mistook the Cholent pot for soup, and upon removing it from the blech, set it down with intent not to return it. He is nevertheless permitted to return on the blech. Of course, it's applied only when cooked is fully cooked and still warm. So if what they're implying is that if some people, as we said before, they would keep the food not completely. If they might keep the Cholent not completely cooked, right? So it would cook overnight. So if this person removed this Cholent on Friday night, so he would not be allowed to put it back for sure. So because first the three conditions, as we said, must be flame or heat element must be covered with a blech, completely cooked and still warm. Continue. Let's see. Okay. E. If electricity is shut off, very interesting. If cooked food were left on an electric appliance, for example, a crock pot, a hot plate, and the electric supply was disconnected, one may take the food and place it on a different cover fire if the food is still warm. Okay, as we said before, okay, different scenario. Alternatively, one may leave the food there until the electricity is reconnected and later benefit from the food, even if it was cooled down in the meantime, when the power was out. And then warm up again when the power went back again. Went back on again. So it's the last scenario. It's very, very interesting, right? So one of the conditions we said that we're allowed to return while the food is still warm. Okay, it's very good, but here's they say if the fire went off, not fire. The electricity went off, and they left everything. Let's say they have an electric stove. They left everything on a blech on this stove, right? And it cooled down for sure. It's going to cool down. So, and then they restored the electricity. So now completely cold food warmed up again, right? Let's say even soup. So they say, well, there's no problem. So my explanation would be because it's grammar, it's indirect. That's I mean, you did not do anything on Shabbos to do that, right? It's not like you have a timer or this or that. I mean, you did not do anything. So in this case, it is allowed to eat this food even if it was completely cold and it's warm up. Summary: if one took a pot from the Blech before Shabbos, with intent to return it, and forgot to do so, he is permitted in case of necessity to return it on Shabbos, provided it has been completely cooked and still warm. Just a second. So, I mean, so one more time, and we're going to explain. If one took a pot from a Blech before Shabbos, so it was before Shabbos, right? It wasn't a Blech on Shabbos. He took before Shabbos for whatever reason. His intent to return it. Okay. So we said in case of rearranging containers on a Blech, possible, and forgot to do so, he's permitted in case of necessity to return it on Shabbos, provided it has been completely cooked and still warm. Okay. Continue. If one took pot from the Blech on Shabbos and set it down and intended not to return it, he is permitted b'diavad to return it on the Blech if it is completely cooked and still warm, but only in cases of necessity. So if person took over the pot from the Blech and put it down, right, and intended not to return it, so meaning the two last conditions are not met, meaning intention is being fifth, being in his hand is the fourth condition. So okay, so they say okay. So after the fact, so if it's necessary food, so he can still return it if three conditions are met. The first three. In case of genuine need, the food is essential food. This is permitted even to set it down. And one intended not to return it. Just I'm saying, in case of genuine need, the food is essential food. This is permitted even if it was set down and one intended not to return. So even they even complicated the case, right? So even if you said, okay, I don't need it, so even since it is a necessary food, for example, you did not know that people are coming and stuff like that. So after the fact, they allow us to put it back on the Blech. Continue. Next scenario. If the fire under the pot fully cooked food went out, or if the electricity supply went out, the pot may be transferred to a different Blech while it is still warm. Okay, so we can cover. We can transfer to the different Blech if it's still warm. Okay, no problem. Since it was on one Blech, so of course you're allowed to return on this Blech or in different Blech. There is no problem. Continue. Next one. If one removed the wrong pot from the Blech, he's permitted to return it, even if they sat down and intended not to return it, as long as the food is fully cooked and still warm. Okay. So as we said in our example, so the person made a mistake. So he mistook soup for Cholent. Okay. So he's allowed to return it. Of course, it must be fully cooked. So section number 4. And the topic is very interesting. I return it to a different pot. Okay, so here we go. According to the rule of the Mishnah Berurah, in instances where a return is permitted, one is also permitted to place the food into different pot and return the pot to the Blech. Okay, so it's very interesting. So basically, it's I mean, if it's still warm, it does not have to be like in simple words in this in original pot. Okay, next one. 1 second. Did we miss anything? Okay, I apologize. Time to pages together. Okay, adding hot water to a pot on a blech. If cholent or other food on a blech is in danger of drying out, one may take a boiled water from the urn or kettle and add it to the cholent. So actually, it was one of the questions that was asked during the class, right? So you take hot water, and you can put it on. I mean, from the urn. I mean, or you have a teapot on a blech, so you can take that water because it's very hot, and you can put it in. What is it in your cholent? In this case, hot water from the urn or kettle is being returned to the blech in a different pot. So it's very interesting. There is a cholent pot. Very interesting. It is also permitted to pour boiled water from the kettle or urn into the cup, and then and from there into the cholent. But that's usually how it is done. You're not going to take the whole urn and it's heavy in this water and put it in a pot. So it's usually done through a cup. Okay. However, one must follow the certain guidelines in order to do this correctly, according to Halachos of Shabbos, and also according to the Halachos of separating meat and milk. I'm not sure what does it mean. So one more time. However, one must follow the guidelines in order to do this correctly, according to Halachos of Shabbos. So I'm thinking, what could we do not correctly? I mean, the cup must be paref, of course. Don't use this. What is it, the Melacha cup, the daily cup, right? It must be paref, or meat pot, or meat cup, or whatever you use, right? But not daily. And also according to halachas of separating meat and milk. So I guess that's what it means. That's the one explanation that I have. That be careful to use cup. To even though it's a water is part of, but that one is not part of. The cholent is not part of. Okay, next one, A. So as not to stir the cholent. Okay, so of course if cholent is still raw, so we're not allowed to stir it, and for sure. So we said even when food is completely cooked, so you're not allowed to stir it while it's on a blech, as we learned before. You're allowed to take it off the blech, stir it, and you can put it back. Okay, chapter 4, it was in chapter 4. We learned that it is forbidden to stir food while it is on the fire, even if the food has been fully cooked. This halacha applies even putting hot water into cholent. Very interesting, because the cholent is inevitably stirred somewhat by water that is poured in. Therefore, while pouring, one must leave the pot of the blech or move it to the area not directly above the fire. If it is not possible, one should pour the water into the cholent very slowly. So I mean, it's not going to work, as we said. If he leaves the pot, I mean, how can you leave the pot and pour at the same time? You need at least two people doing this. But if the food is not ready, as we said, and he removed from the blech, he would not be able to, not be allowed to put it back with the water, right? So it's not very practical. So I think that the most out of all of these scenarios, the most practical, at least look to me, just move it to the area, move cholent to the area, not directly above the fire. So as we said, there is 3 different areas. One is above the fire. Next area is next to that area, and the furthest area is the area number 3, right? So I would say move to area number 3. Add the water slowly and move it back. So the problem is stirring. Okay. B. so that the kettle does not become inflation. So it's a very, very important thing about the vapors, right? So let's see. If Cholent pot is steaming, right, and the kettle comes into contact with the flation contents of the Cholent, this can cause the kettle become flation. So meaning if they're going to put this kettle, right, and too close to the Cholent, so and there is a evaporation, right, this of the from the Cholent. So of course these evaporations are complete meat, right? So it would make our kettle as flation, meaning meat. There are several options to employ in order to avoid this. Number one, when putting water, the pot of kettle into the Cholent, care be taken that this there is a gap of 4 inches between the Cholent pot and the kettle, so that the rising steam emanating from Cholent, which is flation, does not envelop the pot of kettle. So the 4 inches is not too big, right? I mean, it's like this, I would say. So I mean, from this height, I'm not sure. I mean, if it's boiling there, I would say to keep even higher. It's like or something like from this side or something like. But keep in mind that this evaporations, the steam, right? They call it steam. So it's very dangerous. So you can make your kettle flation, which is a problem. 4 inches. So let me read from one more time. So and just so you know, it's not only in this case; it's all in all other cases. When we cook, we have to be careful what is on top of. So any part of things would not get in contact with this steam from the milk or from the meat. It does not make any difference. Okay, so one more time. Number one, when putting water from a pot of kettle into the Cholent, care should be taken that there is a gap of 4 inches between the Cholent pot and kettle. Right, 4 inches. Okay, that's what they say. So that the rising steam emanated from the Cholent pot, which is flation, does not envelop the pot of kettle. Okay, so I mean, now just see if you need to do it from the further high, so do it further high. Right? Do what you need to do from the side when it's not steaming. Okay. Number two. Another option is to wait until the steam is no longer rising in the Cholent pot. That's very interesting. So just if we said if you move it to the colder side of the Blech, right, on the perimeter. So wait. I don't know how much wait. 5 minutes, whatever minutes you wait. Steam came down. So and then you put your water. Okay, very good practical advice. So next one. Alternatively, one may pour boiled water from the kettle or urn into disposable hot cup or flation glass, and pour the water from there into the Cholent pot. Okay. So I think it's. I would say this is the easiest one. Okay. So if you have a flation cup. If you have flation cup, okay. So we do have flation cups in my house. We do, right? So sometimes we would drink like I don't know. Somebody's sick will drink like chicken soup from a cup, right? So it's for sure it's flation. So you can take that cup. Good idea, right? Or as I say, take a disposable cup. That's it. So you put the water into the cholent and just throw out. That's it. So one commentary. If one's kettle is used only for fleshing, he does not mind it to become fleshing. Or if the cholent is paref and the buff is irrelevant. Okay, so for example, if they don't eat daily, I'm not sure how people don't eat daily. Maybe if they don't eat daily at all, there is no problem. But even you see, the problem would be if you use this kettle and you want to drink coffee and you want to add some milk to the coffee, right? So this spout basically it has some meat residue. Now you're going to pour this water and you think you drink coffee, but you're actually drinking meat and milk together. Okay. Second, next page. Continue. If the water temperature will rise. As mentioned in chapter 2, there is a dispute regarding what the point water is considered to be fully cooked. Okay, here we go. Some say it is considered cooked at 160 degrees Fahrenheit, while others hold that it must reach boiling point 212. So 212 is for I would say 212 it's 100 degrees Celsius. 160, I think we converted once. We said it's 70 plus minus. Have to check, convert it and check. I think. Okay, so one more time, two opinions. One is more lenient to 160. They say that water is cooked. One is 212. So it means cooked, meaning what? It's boiled. It should be noted that regarding this instance of adding hot water to the hot food, there is drying out. One may rely on a lenient view. Meaning, in the case of necessity, you're going to lose your essential food, essential Shabbos food. So, meaning you can rely on 160. If the water is an urn, which does not usually reach the boiling point, was heated to at least 160 degrees, it may be added to the pot. Although its temperature will be increased in a new location. So one more time, if the water is an urn, which does not usually reach the boiling point, was heated to at least 160, it may be added to the pot. Although the temperature will be increased in a new location, meaning that the temperature of the water will be increased in a new location, meaning for sure it's going to boil there. But I think initially when you put the raw water into this urn, it's going to boil it first. Okay, then it's going to maintain I'm not sure how hot is the water there, but initially it's going to boil it, the way I understand. I mean, we don't do that. We boil in electric kettle and then put it there, pour into the urn to make it fast. We don't have time because it takes very long time somehow for urn to boil the water. So we do it separately. Okay. So continue. Summary. The food may be transferred from one pot to the blech to a different one. Okay. So we said if you have on one blech, so the fire went off, so you can take it to your neighbor's blech, no problem. Therefore, one may take boiled water. Okay. So here's a different case. One may take boiled water from the kettle or urn and pour into the pot of the cholent. So meaning what, that it was in one location, right? It was in location meaning the blech. Well, let's say blech, right? With the urn or kettle. Let's use kettle as an example. I think it's good example, a better example. So you have a kettle that was on an urn or on a blech, and now this cholent is burning. It's actually on the same blech. I'm not sure if it's a good example. Let's say on an urn or it was in an urn, right? The hot water. So you can, let's say it was Blech, even though there is no Blech. So you can place it, let's say it was on fire, let's say, right? In some sense it was on fire. So you can take it from there and put it on a different Blech that is on a Cholent. Of course, you return it to container with the Cholent. However, the Cholent pot should be moved off the flame, as we said. If it's not possible, the pouring should be done very slowly. Meaning what? That we're afraid that it's going to the steering. Okay, slower. One need not to be concerned that the water from the urn will be heated even more than when transferred to the Cholent, as long it is already 160 degrees. So 160 is, I mean, it's hot, but it's not too hot. So if it is 160 as of right now, so if it's kettle, for sure it's 160. I guess most likely I would say, maybe not sure if it's on the perimeter. All right, so maybe it's not 160, but close to it. Or if it's in an urn, yeah, I think it's 160. Okay. If using a part of kettle, care should be taken that it does not become flashing from the steam rising of the Cholent pot. If Cholent is flashing. Okay, so if you have meat in a Cholent, so be careful if you use a part of kettle, because why? As we said before, the steam from the Cholent can make it flashing, meaning meat. This kettle can be meat. Okay. Part number 5. Removing food from a rack left in the oven. If pot removing food from a rack left in the oven. Okay. If the pot is near the entrance of the oven, which is on, it is permitted to remove some food from the pot by pulling out the oven rack. After removing the food from the pot and closing the lid, one may push the rack back in the oven and close the door. See chapter 27 about electrical appliances regarding opening and closing the door on Shabbos. So that's a separate issue. So what they're saying is very interesting. So we said before, in chapter 4, I guess, as they remind us today. So you're not allowed to take scoop the food from the pot that is on a blech or on an open flame, right? Because it's going to accelerate cooking. So that's why they say even if you want to serve, right, take some food. They said take this pot off the blech, right? Put it on the counter, take the food, and then put the pot back. Right, but here they say it's very interesting. So if you have these racks that you can pull out, I'm not sure how it's practical. Okay, but I mean, yeah, what I'm trying to say that if you have a hot and very heavy pot in the oven, so how you're going to move this move out this rack and it's going to stand there? I'm not sure. I mean, don't try it at home, or do it together with somebody. So if one person would hold the rack and another would take the food, I think it would be the safest way. But one person, I mean, if you pull out the rack and it's going to only 4 inches like inside of the oven of this rack, and it can fall down. Okay, continue. Number 6. If the prohibition was violated, if fully cooked hot food was returned to open flame on Shabbos, some authorities rule that it is permitted to derive benefit from the hot food if it is an essential part of the meal. So very interesting. So of course we say it was done by accident, right? The fully cooked food was returned on open flame on Shabbos. Some authorities rule that it is permitted to derive benefit from the food is essential meal. Okay. Second time. Okay. So we can stop here. HaShem. So we finished chapter. That's chapter 6, returning food. So until tomorrow, thank you very much. So we started this week and for a few weeks, 8:15, please. Okay, thank you very much. Good night until tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to learn Kitzur, HaShem. Thank you.